We have a bit of a change to the program. I'll be moderating this section and I'll be speaking. So this first presentation is mine. Then we'll have the co-founder of Preply. For those of you who don't know, Preply is one of the most successful startups in Ukraine. So this should be interesting. And the third one will have my colleague. He'll be speaking about similar things, about how to get users to convert in your particular product. So this is the kind of thing that a lot of you will be interested in. I assume if you have a product or if you work for clients, you do three things if you want it to grow. You analyze to create a hypothesis and you validate those hypotheses in A/B tests. So this question, how to increase the conversion rate of your A/B test, no, how to increase the win rate of your A/B test. That's something very important. A few things about us. We are a conversion rate optimization agency called Conversion Rate Store. These are some of our clients. In Ukraine, we work with biggest names, but most of our clients are from the US, UK, and Australia. We are so confident in our work that we even offer a performance-based package. Now, what do we do? What's the main value of the things that we do? The main value is data. We collect data, we use that data in order to increase the conversion rate for our clients. The main thing is that the data is available to you. All you need to do is to listen to your audience, listen to your users. Now, ask yourself this question. Do you know the last click the user makes before falling off from the conversion funnel? Or do you know at least the most critical objection a user experiences before abandoning your cart? Or at minimum, do you know the typical behavior of your whales, the users who spend the most money on your site? If you don't, you know where to start. If you do, you're in a good position to go. Now, this is something that I really like. If you don't have data, if you don't have data behind your reasoning, this is just your opinion. Otherwise, you have a very strong case. And this is exactly what we do in conversion rate optimization. We use data to back every single hypothesis that we do. By the way, I have very many slides for you and I have 12 case studies, so I'll go very quickly on them because I want to share a lot of knowledge with you today. Now, Prom, I hope everyone knows, is one of the biggest marketplaces in Eastern Europe and the biggest in Ukraine. For this client, the main thing that we do is we increase the average revenue per user because it already incorporates the average order value and the conversion rate. So what did we find in data? We find that there is a correlation between product page view and average revenue per user, which is an obvious thing. You probably know this if you are in e-commerce business. You will also know that some clients or some users open the product pages in different tabs to compare them, different products. And the last thing that we found that is applicable to that particular case is that the majority of traffic lands onto the product listing pages. Now, the hypothesis, it is based on the data that I just showed you, is that if we increase the engagement in product listing, i.e. if people will be clicking more things on product listing, more icons, they'll be visiting more page views, and that will lead to increase in conversion rate and average revenue per user. It's a logical thing, logical progression. So say, okay, this is a product listing. I would say, users click here, and they go to a product page. In the same tab, we say, what if, in variation B, you see that's variation A, in the same tab, variation B, we open a product page in a new tab. That means that the user will have to engage with product listing every time he closes a tab. The result of this is almost 5% growth in average revenue per user. There is another client whose cost per click is from 6 to, I think, 18. Yeah, 6 from $18. This is a golf course. This company, it creates courses for golfers to increase their efficiency and their skills in golf. And they're in the market where a click costs between $6 and $18. That's a lot of money. And that means you have to close that conversion in the first session. So the way it goes, user lands on the page and he's already getting into the funnel of engagement. So they ask, choose who you are. Enter your email. Because what you came there for, you came for lessons, you came for videos. So it's pretty obvious you'll be quite motivated to watch the video once you're offered it. A free video, how to identify your key consistency killer in golf. And then you watch the video. What we found is that we did this kind of thing. This is called a regression modeling. On the right here, this is a behavior. This is some kind of behavior. Say, click on the filter, click on sorting, and so on and so on. And in the columns are the goals. So we say, what is the conversion rate of a person who clicked on that element? It's 2.04. That's below what we need. So we find a particular behavior. Now we found that users who watched more than 75% of the video, their conversion rate has skyrocketed after the 75%. Users who watched less than 75% of the video, they're much lower. But we also found that only 18% of users actually finished the video. So we said, okay, let's remove that button. In variation B, let's remove that button to continue until a user finishes 75% of the video. 70% uplift. Now, these guys are so effective in what they do. They have after you do a first purchase, they offer you another upsell. If you don't buy into this, they offer you a downsell for $1. So this is just a bonus to show you how well these guys are monetizing that click that costs $6 to $18. Now, after we worked on these guys, NBC has purchased them, and we actually kicked off their experimentation CRO program. They did hundreds of A/B tests after us, and this is just an example how CRO can change the game. Their capitalization has grown significantly after they started the CRO program. This is Komodo. Now, we were tasked to increase the conversion rate of a landing page that already converted at 49%. So every second user that landed converted. They were selling a forensic analysis tool. This is the whole page. There is no more. A forensic analysis sounds pretty difficult to comprehend and understand. This guy was selling this tool just with that page, with that little copy. We did a qualitative analysis. So we spoke to support team, to users, interviews, we ran polls. So what we found is that users don't understand the value of that. A lot of users don't understand the value. They see this, Komodo, the brand, and they say, wow, I can trust this guy. So they convert. But a lot of them, they have no idea about the value. They don't understand the technical language used there. And we found the main fear, which was pretty obvious, but still. We found the fear that users they fear for their cybersecurity. And we decided, so what do? Let's use that framework. Pain, more pain, hope, and solution. So we created that variation B. Variation B, where we're trying to create more pain. We say, okay, things are bad, and they're about to get worse. The very many malware and cybersecurity threats are released every single day, and you need to be prepared for this. This is a competitors, their algorithms are too weak to help you, and here is the solution. Now, remember, 49% conversion rate of that page. We increased it by 70.5% thanks to that landing page, new landing page. Gaiam is another company in US that is selling things for mindfulness and yoga, one of the top retailers in US. Now, we were tasked, the same thing as always, increase conversion rate. We said, okay, so what do? We found that the cart abandonment was pretty high. We say, we don't work with email marketing, we are CRO, so we work with user experience on the site. So we said, how about we do an exit intent pop-up in mobile? Because that's where most of the traffic was and most of the revenue was. But how many of you, raise your hands please, I really like, who has done ever an exit intent pop-up in mobile? Great. Now, it's always a tricky thing because you have to create a sequence of a thing. We created this sequence. If a user in the same session does the following thing, he adds something to cart, that's sequence, step number 1. Then he closes the cart or cart notification and continues shopping. Number 3, he goes to a product page and he scrolls to a particular level. Remember, this is in mobile. Scrolls to a particular level where we know that information above was enough to make a decision to buy or not to buy. And number 4, he makes a sharp scroll up, activating the menu. I hope I understood it. I hope I explained it well enough, but if I didn't, I can show you this after the presentation. So, which one of them won? Just raise your hands. Number 1. Anyone? Number 2? Yeah. Number 2 won. And the reason number 2 won is because of 3 things. Visual hierarchy. We research this. We make sure that the users go from a message to a message the way we want them to go. So first we say one person just purchased an item from your cart. Then we say that there's a popular choice and there's limited stock. And then we show the user the complete my order button. And it worked. Trigger focus on user behavior. That's the 4 steps I showed you. And the real scarcity is trust issue. You have to be trustful if you want to be, if you want users to come back. Booking, for example, does the same thing, and it's doing pretty good job. Now, we worked with this client, and we managed to connect this. So we managed to be authentic in this. We managed to connect this messaging to CRO, and we know how much stuff client has in stock. The next case is for Prom. We're almost done with cases. I'll show you, in the end, I'll show you the CRO-tactics that work in every business, something that I get asked all the time. This is another regression modeling where we're trying to identify behavior that correlates with particular thing. What we found is that there is an element on the product page. Users that clicked on that element, they have a significantly higher RPU, average revenue per user. It's called the recommended block. We recommend block on product detail page. But the problem with that, it was so far in the scroll, it was on the 5th screen. Only about 8% of users ever saw this. So we said, how about we increase the reach of that element? We move it up in the product page. Then we looked up in the product page and we say, well, there's nowhere we can put it because everything is taken. This is critical space, buy button, picture, characteristics. We say, what if we take this block and we move it upwards and stick it at the top of the screen. And on that space, we bring out the recommended product block. 15.6% increase in average revenue per user. Remember, this is Prom. This is a multi-million site. So this revenue gain is very, very, well, it's one of the most successful cases we have ever done. And they were so successful that they implemented this UI on all of their affiliate sites, including Beagle and Tiuru. This case is applicable to those of you who know, well, who are good at SEO. And you drive a lot of traffic to your blog, to your content, so you drive a lot of content consumers. But they don't convert, they don't do anything. They read and they bounce. And many of you can relate to this. So what we found, the data says, users, a lot of users come to blog. About 80% of traffic come to read the blog. Number two, there is a lot of engagement. Pages per session ratio and time on site ratio per session is high. So users spend a lot of time and read a lot of content. Now we're in the game here. But they don't convert, they don't do anything. They read, and they go. We also found that there is a critical element on the blog that we can use. A critical element meaning that if you don't read it, the rest of the blog doesn't make a lot of value to you. This is the control variation. This is just a recipe. By the way, the Cook Smarts, it sells recipes. So you buy a subscription and you get access to recipes, hundreds of different recipes. So this is the ingredients, the description of the meal, and here's the recipe. The way they used to convert is they say, there is a slide-in banner, they say, you want to see all the recipes? Grab 1 month free. Or there is an exit and then pop-out, say, do the same with us. Look at the recipes. We said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to blur the critical content. So the user knows about the brand. He trusts the brand because it's one of the tops in search results in Google. He knows the quality of the information is good, but the critical information is hidden. In some of the cases, we also put a banner here, but we also blurred it. So that was the main innovation that we did. Now, if we compare the blurred content plus our banner against slide-in banner and exit and pop-up, this is the control, this is the alternative. 500% increase in engagement and 81% increase in conversion rate to free trial. Now, I hope by now I convinced you that data wins always in the long run. But let's play this game. This is our client. He has 4 highlighted buttons at the cart. Based on visual hierarchy, and you know that every single page has a purpose. For example, product detail page has a purpose to get you to add to cart. Cart page has a purpose to get you to checkout, and checkout has a purpose to get you to transaction, to buy. That's a cart. It has the purpose to get you to checkout. But there is only one purpose. You need to highlight a particular button. Which one would you highlight out of those 4? Let's do this. Checkout. Great. Amazon Pay. PayPal. And Google Pay. How about Apple Pay? Great. Okay, the answer is whatever the data says, meaning that all of these buttons could be more effective in particular circumstances. Say on Samsung mobile, Google Pay would work better because this is native behavior. On Apple iPhones, Apple Pay would work better. PayPal just works better anywhere. So whatever the data says, you need to calculate the conversion rate of that particular element into transaction, and only then make a decision. Don't make a decision just because it looks pretty. Here's our client. The client thought that checkout, traditional checkout, like most of the owners of the e-commerce shops, is the number one option that should be on a cart. But we calculated that the transaction, the conversion rate of PayPal from cart to transaction is 79%. Imagine 79% that came to checkout and clicked on PayPal, they bought. That's a lot. And we say, where are your PayPal and Apple Pay buttons? They say, well, over there. So how about we move them here? Now, just because we moved the buttons, the engagement and the transaction rate of PayPal and Apple Pay has increased by 100%. And we reached 14% increase in e-commerce conversion rate, 12% in RPU, just because of that. That's, I mean, pretty simple things. The same client, we found that 22% leave by clicking on that hamburger menu. 22%, that's quite a lot from the cart. So we said, let's remove it. 6%, 6.5% increase in conversion rate. Just removing that little thing. Everything is data. Nothing of this is just, I think we should, if I wouldn't know the 22% leave with this menu, I would never guess to remove it. Based on that, that's the result. Now, what CRO-tactics work everywhere? None. There are some things that frameworks that you can use that work everywhere, and I'll talk about them. Now, another case for Prom, we identified a natural drop-off in a conversion funnel, and you know this. If you have an e-commerce shop or you just use your logic, you understand that a user comes to a particular stage in a conversion funnel, he visits one page, product page, another product page, another product, say, okay, I had enough, I go. The product page is a natural drop-off stage. Say, how many product pages a user views per session? 2 to 4. Okay, we say, what if we catch user's attention just before he says, I'm gonna go? We say, no, don't go. I know we did a shitty job offering you the products you were looking for. Let us help you find that product again. It's a natural thing. We offer for a user to find the product again. But the problem is the trigger. When do we activate it? It's an exit intent, but do we activate it after a user viewed 2 pages, 3 pages, 4 pages, 5 pages, the product pages? So I say, okay, how about we create 7 alternative variations, and all of them, the first alternative variation will activate after the user viewed 3 product detail pages, 4 product detail pages, and so on. Which one of them do you think won? Now A. B. You think B? Huh? I would have thought B. But the result was none. The result was there was no difference. In fact, if there was a 3% statistically insignificant decline, if you were Prom or if you were somewhere else, you would say, well, that's a pretty natural thing. That makes a lot of sense. Give users some kind of hook to stay and continue the session. Maybe he will convert. Imagine how much money you would spend implementing this and thinking that's going to work. Surely it's going to work. We found it gave no result. Now, so the number one thing that works in every business, the number one universal CRO-tactics is experimentation. The other CRO-tactics will be pictured here. So this is a client that uses his site in order to translate your site to any language. So for example, you put a small script of their tool to your site and it says translate it to Chinese. And he uses Google algorithm to translate your site to a different language. Now their flow is the following. You come to their site, you read the unique value proposition, then you say try now, try what? Try now. Then you see this form. Now first, you know there's a notion of click fear. People won't click if they don't understand what's going to happen next. But okay, you try this, try now. Then you see this form, so you already have no idea what's going to happen. Plus you're quite demotivated by such a big form. Say, no, let's do it differently. Let's get user to put in his site, select a language, and see translation. And we show him the form that he needs to convert on. In the background, we show him his translated site. So we show him the value of our product before he does before experiencing any friction. This is good. I wanted to see my translated side. This, I see my translated side, but you need to convert to see the rest of your site converted. Pretty good. Now, 43% increase in conversion rate to registration based on this. So number 2, universal CRO-tactics is value communication up front before user experiences any friction. And this is another case study. We found number of objections that a user has during conversion. So he thinks, oh, there's too much commission. I'm going to find a better price somewhere else. And other things. We also found that this block here is irrelevant. No one clicks there. No one goes there. So we said, how about we use that block to put in some critical information? We say, you pay no commission. This is the best prices on the market. We price match. We give you the money back if you find somewhere else. The result is none. Why? Because we forgot about this. Users read from left to right, and we forgot about that. The fact is that there is a sequence of making decisions. First, you realize there is a necessity. Second, you collect data. And third, you make a decision. So here we ask the user to make a decision before we provided him critical information to make that decision. In that case, all we did, this is a next case, we changed the sides of the key benefits with the form, and we highlighted the side. Look at this form and see where your attention goes over here somewhere. Look at this form, see where look at this screen, see where your attention goes. It goes to the right, top left corner where the benefits are. First we feed user with information, then we ask to make a decision. 12% uplift, just changing the sides. So the number 3 universal CRO-tactics that works everywhere, research and data-driven hypothesis. Now, I'm done. I want you just to stay with this. The frameworks that I showed you, you can easily use those frameworks to achieve 5% increase on a month-to-month basis in conversion rate and your key metrics. And what that will translate to 80% increase on a year-to-year basis. If you guys want to know more, if you want to learn conversion rate optimization at our CRO Academy, please send me a message. Otherwise, thank you very much. We don't have time, but if anyone wants to speak, I'm here. I'm moderating. I'm here for the next 3 hours. I'll be very glad to.